Denise Stegall is a health and wellness expert. Healthy living, healthy life is her motto. She's got an excellent website that people can go to and you can get help. She's got these great experts on on wellness, on health, on personal development, and just other fun areas as well. She's a strong advocate of exercise, of course, of dieting, of eating correctly. We get into a really good conversation on some great tips people can employ on, you know, don't have to make dramatic changes. When people want to lose weight, all of a sudden they just kind of crash right away and it's not sustainable. And, what you can do to kind of ease into it. Great advice on that. Start today. Don't worry about yesterday. We also talk about the 80-20 rule, which is an excellent rule with nutrition. 80% of the time, be eating correctly and don't stress about the others. But it's a great conversation on health and wellness. We talk about food FOMO. Have you ever heard this term before? Fear of missing out, food FOMO. Great conversation, Denise Stegall. I know you're going to enjoy it. Thanks for listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic. I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business? And it lasted over 25 years. Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission, how do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family, in their passion, in their careers, and how it helped them. Our podcast vision, growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. Nice to meet you, Denise.
Same here. I'm looking forward to this.
Yes, me as well. So how are we going to get people healthy again? You're doing something very special. I love it.
Yes. And what I truly believe healthy living, happy life. And it is an achievable goal for everyone. I truly 100% believe that. And it is a matter of taking control, stepping back, and truly creating a plan, prioritizing your plan, and then preparing for it. I think so often people just kind of say, oh, I want to lose weight. And they set a number, and maybe they do everything in their power to do that, to lose weight. And they do it. And then that's great. And then they just kind of go back to life the way it used to be. So there was really no plan. There was kind of this goal out there, 20 pounds. We're going to reach that. And then the next thing without actually planning and really preparing for it. Because if you want to lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 100 pounds, you know this. There's a lot more than the number that you need to focus on. And I think that is really where the planning piece comes in, is really digging deep and saying, okay, so what do I want? I want to lose 100 pounds. Why? What difference would that make in my life? And everybody kind of first of all thinks, oh, well, it'll be great because, I'll fit into smaller clothes or I'll look better. And those things are all amazing. It really does help your self-confidence. But there's more to it than what's on the surface. And I think most of us in our society are kind of, we see what's on the surface. But if we don't take care of what's happening inside, and really kind of evaluate, how did we get to this unhealthy place? And sometimes it's not about losing weight. Sometimes it is just about, eating better, getting up off the couch and doing something different.
Yeah, I really like what you said there. I know so many people who lost weight and then just gain it all right back, and
Mhm.
they kind of reach their goal. Well, I could do that. I could do it again another time.
Exactly. And they do it, once, twice, five times. And what ends up happening when people lose the weight in that way, so maybe they lose 10 pounds and they do pretty well for a while, but then they gain back 15.
Hmm.
So now they have to lose 15 pounds. And so they do that. They lose that 15 pounds. But now they have to lose 20 because the next time they gain it back, they gain that extra five. And I don't know why 5 pounds always seems to be the number. Like there's that extra 5 pounds somewhere.
Yeah, I do hear that often. Yeah, perhaps they're just well, I'm not that bad. I only need to work a little bit at it, and but the obesity numbers here in the United States are just, I mean, I've heard as high as 75%. I mean, it's just, if we were a healthier nation, would we have handled this pandemic differently?
Very true. And would it have affected us in a different way? That's also probably true. And I think you're right. Then when it comes to obesity, the numbers are scary.
Mm.
What's really scary is the numbers of when it comes to children. You look at some kids at 8 or 9, at 13, and you think those poor kids, because they don't know any different. They actually have never experienced a healthy life, a healthy lifestyle. And, from a young age, those kids are struggling with self confidence,
Mm.
self assuredness. And at that age, kids should be kids. They shouldn't be worried about, how other kids are going to look at them. Are they going to be able to play on the playground? Are they going to be able to, are they going to get picked last in gym class? I mean, we all hated that when we were kids, and we were a much healthier nation back then, and that was tough then. Now to add this layer of obesity and really the unhealthiness around it. Obviously, being overweight and being obese has a lot of health implications. But just think, especially for younger people, running around, playing. One of the things that I love to talk about with adults is I don't talk about exercise. Exercise is work. Let's go out and play. Let's go
Mm.
do something fun, do something that we enjoy. Well, if you've never learned what that was when you were a kid, it's really hard to figure that out as an adult. And that's really where that planning comes in. And it's one of those things you can't just sit there and go, oh, I'm going to write a plan. No, it really is some inner work involved. What do I like?
Mm.
Sometimes we don't know that. What do we want? More often than not, we definitely don't know what we want. We may know what we don't want. That happens more and more today. It's, well, I don't want this and I don't want to be overweight and I don't want to do XYZ. But when it comes to truly knowing what we actually want, we don't know. And so that I think is a good place to start.
Yeah, very, very good points. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think in this day and age, too, we want everything right away.
Mm.
It's not about, it's, instantaneous gratification. Um, that's hard, when it comes to being healthy and weight loss because it doesn't happen right away.
No.
What can happen right away though is you can make a decision right now today to eat a healthy meal. Doesn't have to be, oh my god, I have to change my whole
Mm.
lifestyle.
Mm.
But the one thing you can change is today. You can make those good changes, those good choices for today. So even though you may not see the benefits for a few days, a few weeks, a few months, you have to start today, because it's the only time you can start. You can't worry about the future. That's behind you. No one knows what's going to happen. The past is behind you. The
I know
future
what you
is in
meant.
front of you. Thought about that. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. So, plan for it, but live for today. And today is the day to make those choices.
I know in my case, when I found myself very, very heavy, it was a visit to the doctor, and the doctor said I was pre-diabetic, and and my daughter was born. Said, "Hey, you want to see your daughter?"
Uh-huh.
So that was the kind of turnaround period. So for some, just like any addiction, perhaps you kind of need that kind of come to Jesus moment. You have like these
Hmm.
three main pillars that you kind of focus on: eating real food, making good decisions, and being accountable. Excellent pillars, Denise.
I do. And they're really the foundation of kind of everything that I do with clients, and everything that I talk about with Living Healthy List, when I'm talking to new experts to join Living Healthy List. Because what I've found through the years is those three pillars. First and foremost, no matter what you want to do in life, whether it's be healthy, run a marathon. Okay, that's extreme. Um, be successful in your business, have a great relationship. All of those things actually start with eating real food. Because if you eat real food, you have energy. Your body works at its best. It's optimized. You get all the nutrition you need, the vitamins and minerals, all of those great things. When you're eating real food, your weight actually stabilizes. So you're not always focused on, oh my God, I have to lose weight. Or, oh, I ate that extra slice of pizza. Oh my God, now what? Pizza, by the way, is real food. We can make it real food. Just want to put that out there. I'm from New York originally. Pizza is a staple in my life.
Hmm.
We just need to tweak it a little. But also, when you're eating real food, your digestive system is doing pretty well. It feels good because it's used to the food that you're giving it. Like it's not foreign food. I mean, some of the this stuff that the additives and preservatives that they put in packaged food, your body just goes, "Ooh, what is this? This is not normal," and it fights it, thinking that it's quote unquote a foreign substance, and so that creates inflammation in your body. Well, inflammation in your body doesn't make you feel good, and it can cause, it really is the root cause, as we're finding, the root cause of many, many diseases down the road. So again, if you're eating real food, you're feeling good, your body's working, you're not worried about gaining weight, you're sleeping well, your stomach is doing pretty good, it's doing what it's supposed to do. And of course, when you have all of those things going on, your job, no matter what's going on at work, you can deal with it because you feel good. With relationships, people are attracted to people, whether it's a work relationship or a passionate relationship. People are attracted to people who look good, who look healthy, who act healthy.
Hmm.
So again, that starts with the eating of real food, and plus it does taste pretty good. You'd be amazed, and I'm sure you know this, just with your experience. When you start eating real food, and by that I mean um, plants, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds. And lean meats, poultry, and fatty fishes. So, and again, some of those things you can take out and add depending on whether you have a food sensitivity or an allergy. But those are the ones that I focus on with my clients. Um, but then with eating real food, the next pillar, of course, is to make good decisions. If you're eating real food, that's, you've got a check already. You're already making a good decision. Um, but again, you can make good decisions when you're eating real food. It goes back. It really does it's almost like a circle.
Hmm.
When you eat real food, your brain is functioning. optimally. You think more clearly. You don't have the brain fog. And a lot of women complain about brain fog.
Hmm.
I don't know if men do, because I work with a lot more women than I do men. But that's one of the things that people say, I just feel like I'm in a fog. I'm always in a funk. And it's hard to make good decisions when you're in a funk.
Hmm.
So making good decisions. And those decisions are, about everything. Should you go to bed at 10 o'clock instead of staying up till midnight watching Netflix? Do you go for the walk? It's a beautiful day here in Minnesota. Do you go for a walk in the afternoon, or, spend another hour, on YouTube? These are the type of good decisions that really start to make that healthy, happy lifestyle that we're all searching for possible. And then again, with the third pillar, being accountable. And first and foremost, you can only be accountable to you. If you are not accountable to you, you're useless to everybody else. And truly, it's being accountable to yourself. So, okay, you didn't make some good choices today. Don't beat yourself up about it, but acknowledge it and honor that. Say, today wasn't such a great day. I started my morning with a big muffin or a donut. And then at lunch, I had a big Coke or whatever it might be with French fries. Um, Own that. You can't change it. You've done it. Own it. Be accountable about it, and then move on. Make a different um, decision next time. But when we are accountable to ourselves in this way, again, it's easier to be accountable to other people. But if we're not accountable to ourselves, and we're kind of kidding ourselves or lying to ourselves, how can we be truthful with other people? How can we really be there for other people? And of course, in the case of health, like you mentioned, your child was born, and you're thinking, okay, I've got to do something. And so again, those being that was an absolute accountability piece on your part, because you're going, okay, I've got this newborn baby. I better do something, because if I don't do something for me, I can't do something for them in the future. So it really does. Even though I call them pillars, and I think they really are the foundation of everything that we aim for in our life. And I really do believe that we're all looking for that healthy lifestyle, a healthy, happy lifestyle. Which, if we're healthy and happy kind of go together. It's healthy to happy, not happy to healthy.
Hmm.
Um, because if you're not healthy and you don't feel well and all of that, it's really hard to be happy when you're when you're overweight and you're sluggish and you don't have the energy to do the things you want to do. So I think it's really important to realize that if you ultimately want to be happy in life, that you really do have to focus on that health piece. And again, we have to start somewhere, and it really is about that plan. And I know you and I had talked a little bit about how discipline comes in, and how that was a big part of your weight loss journey, and is part of your life every day.
Yeah, when people ask me how I lost the weight, it really started with discipline. They want some magic, I did something, whatever it may be. I started wearing black shirts or something. No, I just used discipline. I created a plan and I stuck with it. And you talk often about the 80-20 rule when eating.
Mhm.
You want to talk about that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what's the first thing people do when they want to lose 20 pounds? They jump all in, feet first. Okay, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm not going to eat anything but, carrots and hummus, for the next 3 weeks. And, I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week for an hour and a half, which is not sustainable.
Mm.
Now, I love carrots and hummus, but I don't want to eat carrots and hummus all day. Only thing I want to eat. So when I talk about 80-20, it's about food to start with, 80% of the time, if you're eating real food and you're eating healthy and making good choices, 20% of the time, you can have the slice of pizza or the donut. Um, because once we start to say, oh, I can't have that, the next thing that comes to your mind is, ooh, I really want that. Oh,
Mm.
nope, I can't have that, but I really want it, but I can't have it. But if you know that at some point, you know what, I can have it. I can have that one donut and enjoy every bite of it without guilt, which is the key, without guilt.
Right.
Then you can move on. You're no longer thinking about the donut. So if we look at it, our diets as that 80-20 rule, 80% of the time, absolutely eat that real food. 20% of the time, which is kind of, stuff that happens in life anyway.
Right.
Sometimes you wake up late, you got to run out the door. Oops, you didn't bring your lunch. So that's, maybe that's your 20% day. But I also think 80-20 works when it comes to the rest of a healthy lifestyle. When it comes to exercise. I just recently read a book that says as you get older, you should really be working out or exercising or
Mm.
playing 6 days a week. Now, usually as we get older, we're thinking we should do less. I kind of think, they're the people that will go all out, whole hog, and go crazy 6 days a week and go crazy. They do that for a short period of time and then burn out. So if we're looking at exercise and play again as, that 80-20, go out there and, go hard, really, and, really kind of work at it 80% of the time. And then 20% of the time, go for that beautiful walk, outside in the beautiful weather, which here I should have beautiful weather for another about 4 weeks, and then who knows?
Yes. Well, you're from New
So I
York.
think
It's not quite as cold. Yeah.
no, I'm from Long Island, so no, it's definitely not as cold.
Right.
I never experienced -20 until I moved to Minnesota.
A drastic change. So going back to diet for a moment, where do you like? I like to eat the rainbow. I try to follow the
Mhm.
dirty dozen. Oh, how do you feel on organics?
Organics. This is a great conversation. I go through this with organics, and I go through this conversation with GMOs as well.
Mm.
Um, Organics are great. They are a little bit more expensive.
Right.
And so if budget is something that you're concerned with, that's really where the dirty dozen comes in. And the dirty dozen is a list of the not dirtiest, but the items that have the most pesticides when they are tested by the EWG, the Environmental Work Group. And this is a group that has been around for a long time.
Mm.
And they really are about making sure that the population, that we get good, honest information. Which, now that I think about it, is really what I try to do at what I'm about at Living Healthy List:
Mm.
honest, reliable, and unbiased information. Because we're not getting that from mainstream media or some of the websites that we might follow. So that dirty dozen truly is, when it comes to organics, that's really where to start. I do believe if you're going to if you're going to eat meat, the grass-fed meat is better for you, depending on where the grass that they're
Mm.
eating, what's in, where's the cow? Are they somewhere where the pollution or pesticides from other crops, is it coming into the grass? So, it's hard to tell when you go to the supermarket. It's different if you can go to the farm, which out here I can do,
That's right.
though I don't do as often as I probably should. Um, it's time consuming. And again, I think this is also where that 80-20 can come in. So when it comes to organics, be smart when it comes to your fruits and vegetables and follow the dirty dozen. And those are the ones first and foremost to buy organic. If you can add some of the other things in, they should be the things that you eat on a more regular basis. So obviously, if you're, I'm gonna throw eggs in there because, organic, cage-free um, eggs. There's, I think now there's like 6 different types of eggs you can get, and
Really?
of course the prices range from plain old eggs to your, organic, whatever, fed, cage-free. Um, so if you're eating a lot of eggs, go for the better quality ones. If it's not something you eat a lot, it's probably not going to affect you that much.
I just learned
So,
about the Dirty Dozen about a month ago, talking to interesting people like yourself, and just, strawberries. I mean, those little suckers are just sponges. I mean, they're porous
mhm,
and they just soak up everything, and the organic ones may look a little smaller, but they're juicier, but they don't last as
mhm,
long, which is scary because
mhm,
what they're doing to these fruits, it's horrible.
mhm. Yeah, and we're eating fruits and vegetables thinking we're being healthy, and then all of a sudden, there's all of this pesticide that,
Mm.
we're just ingesting it, and our body doesn't really know how to get rid of that well. And I think a lot of that is where inflammation comes in again. Your body gets that, has this foreign substance, the pesticides and whatever else has been, in that strawberry. And it needs to fight to get rid of that. Um, so I think when it comes to organic foods, that's one of the things to pay attention to. If it's a food that's really high in pesticides, you want to make sure that you're eating it organic,
Mm.
um, because then your body's not fighting the food that you're trying to eat.
The complete opposite of what we want. You have a great term that I never heard before, and I just kind of marveled over it. You said food FOMO.
Okay, so a friend of mine actually said that to me one time,
Oh, I get
and
it.
I loved it.
I
So
love
I
it.
can't actually claim it as mine. But my friend Lauren had said that to me. I don't know, a couple of years ago, and I really latched onto that because, being in the health and wellness world, and being a foodie. So my background is actually food and beverage. Like, my
Mm.
degree is hotel restaurant business management. I took nutrition classes in school. I started cooking when I was 11.
Hmm.
Um, I have a plant-based professional cooking certification. So food is a big deal for me. And luckily, my husband's a foodie too, so that makes it even. I don't know. I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
Mm.
But that food FOMO, like that fear of missing out. So think of it: you go to a cocktail party, and the person is like the hostess with the mostest, and the whole buffet spread is out there, and you're like, ooh, your eyes pop out, you're like, ooh, that all looks so good. And it does. And so the FOMO piece is, okay, you know what your goal is. You're trying to eat healthy and be smart, make good choices. um, and there's all of this stuff out, lots of cheese, lots of cream, lots of cakes and cookies and things that, would be fine, 80/20. um, but instead of thinking of 80/20, we go over to the buffet and we put everything on our plate.
Right.
We'll just have a little bit of this and a little bit of this, and before you know it, your plate is full of food. And probably, and this happens a lot at Thanksgiving. I've looked at, people's plates, my husband's included, and I'm like, you've got like 2,000 calories worth of food, and this is just the appetizers. So when it comes to food FOMO, I get it. We don't want to kind of miss out on everything. But one of the tricks that I have learned through the years, especially when it comes to a buffet, if you can avoid buffets, avoid buffets.
Mm.
But if you can't, walk around the buffet first. Check out what's there. Because what always happens is you pick one thing up, you put it on your plate, and then you move a little bit further on the buffet, and then there's something even better that you like more, but you've already put this thing on your plate. So you're going to eat it. So FOMO is hard. when even as adults, you think, fear of missing out, we don't want to miss out on like the new cool thing that's happening, a new cool car, a new cool phone, which I do not have. I still have an iPhone 7.
Do you?
So, we don't want to miss out on things in life. And it's really the same thing when it comes to food. I mean, I know for me, we went out recently to a friend's house, and she has a pizza oven outside in her house, or outside in her backyard. And she had like 6 different types of pizza, which means if I had a bite of everything, even if I had a half a slice, that's still a lot more pizza than I should probably eat.
Right.
So the FOMO piece was, ooh, I don't want to miss out on this because everybody's enjoying it. But where the make good decisions piece came in was I took a look at all of the different pizzas and chose the 2 that I knew I would like the best. So I didn't miss out on anything. If you have to say I missed out on something, I missed out on something that I probably wouldn't like anyway.
A lot
So
of
food
discipline.
FOMO is a real thing.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. I know you're a big cookie fan, um, and as am I. And boy, those warm chocolate chip cookies. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's better. Never changing the way you move will eventually destroy you.
Yes, absolutely, 110%. So, okay, so if you're somebody who's not really moving around right now, you're more sedentary than not. We know that's going to kill you at some point, because if you're sedentary, your heart rate's not getting up there, your cardiovascular system's not working. More than likely, you're sitting around gaining weight, which is not good. It's not good for your self-esteem. And so, we understand that, if somebody's just kind of sitting around and sedentary, that makes sense. But if you're somebody who, kind of dabbles at exercise, you go for a walk every day. So I remember I had one of my girlfriends years ago. I remember her saying to me, "Oh, she's like, I love aerobics. She's into aerobics, and she, like Jane Fonda aerobics. When in the '90s when we were in college, she would go to every aerobics class there was, and that was great. It was great for her cardiovascular system. But as she started to get older, she started to get a little wobbly, wobbly under her arms, but also wobbly in the way she was walking. Because as great as cardio is and aerobic exercise is, there's no weightlifting. You're not really doing weight bearing exercise. And so, as much as she was doing this, and she would say, I'm really healthy. I do aerobics 5 days a week. I eat pretty well. She was also overweight by about 10 pounds, but she always had been, and had always been an aerobic person. So when I was in college, I was a college athlete. And one of the things that they had us do twice a week, which admittedly I hated at the time, they would make us go to the weight room. As a 19-year-old girl, what the heck did I know about lifting weights? I didn't. But we really weren't focusing on weightlifting for women or weightlifting for kind of normal people. Athletes went to the weight room. Big beefy men, they went to the weight room. What does this 5 foot tall little waif of a girl do at the weight room? Well, that's really when I realized the benefit of lifting weights. It was really amazing in that, even at that young age, at 19, I thought, wait a minute, I feel different. At the time, I didn't necessarily look different, but I can honestly say that I felt different when I started going to the weight room. And so my girlfriend, who I'm still friends with today, I kept saying to her, I feel great going to the weight room. I think this is really important. You should try to do this. No, 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 no. She poo-pooed me for years, until one day, at 75 pounds overweight, she went into a gym and said to somebody, I need help.
Wow.
And the first thing they did Was brought her to the weight room. So
Mm.
again, most people, especially women, we like aerobic machines. We get on the treadmill, we get on the elliptical, and that's what we do. We're there for half an hour, maybe an hour. And so we're really only working out part of our body. My mom's going to be 80 in December, and she was actually one of those women who would go to Elaine Powers, I think it was called, and she would do aerobics and she would do light weights, because back then they said, light weights, high reps. Now they say kind of the opposite. You want more heavier weights to build a couple of things. You want to build lean muscle mass, but also to strengthen your bones. I know this is one of the things that we talk about quite a bit in the health and wellness world. Is as you get older, men and women, granted more women, osteoporosis is a real problem. How many old women do you know? Much older women, but sometimes, when I remember when I was a kid, women at 65, that was old.
Mm.
My husband's almost 65. He's not old. I
Mm.
mean, he's in great shape, lifts weights, does all the right things. So my mom at 80, because she did those things when she was younger, does a lot better than a lot of her counterparts. She stands taller. I was going to say she. Most people we're worried about falls. She actually did have a fall. She tripped and fell over something. So this is not quite the same
Mm.
as people get older, they just kind of start to lose their coordination. Part of it is muscle. They don't have the muscle tone, the muscle mass. But also when it comes to osteoporosis, if you haven't been doing the weight bearing exercises, by the time you're 60, 70, you're in for a rough ride. I mean, I think nowadays that's even starting to see that in people in a younger age. Um, and we know the implications, but it goes back to eating real food and really focusing on the right exercise. So again, if you're still doing, that aerobic exercise, jumping on the elliptical for a half an hour every day, even if it's every day, you're not doing enough.
Mm. And even weightlifting or just using your own body weight, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups. I mean, that's still, you don't have to necessarily, some people just don't like the gym. They're intimidated by people, by
Mhm.
the weights. But even the bands, I see a lot of people do band work, and you can get really good weight work exercise there.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I don't go to a gym anymore. I actually have a full gym in my house. Just
Mm.
as the years have gone on, I do have a brand new treadmill, which is like amazing. But I have a treadmill, I have an elliptical, I have a stationary bike. I mean, seriously, the stationary bike is probably 20 years old,
Mm.
but it still works. I have some weights and I have some bands also. And this is the beauty of the internet. You can get amazing workouts
Right.
for free.
Mm.
Go to YouTube, find somebody that you like. There's a gal that I've been following for quite a few years, and she has paid programs, but she has a lot of free 15 or 20-minute videos on YouTube. And so if you're somebody who's, really kind of thinking, oh, okay, maybe I should start to dabble in this a little bit, go to the secondhand store. You'd be amazed at how much gym equipment you can find at the secondhand store. Get a couple of things and just start small. But really, it's all about starting. So we have to start again. We can only make those decisions for today. Can't affect yesterday. We can affect in a positive way what happens in our future, but we don't know what's going to happen. So today is the day.
Yeah, and it takes discipline. You have to be committed. I mean, it's yourself, it's your body. I read recently somebody said, a parent said, I would die for my children. But if you're not healthy, would you die for yourself? If you're not taking care of yourself, you're going to die before them, and you won't be able to take care of your children. Like when you're in a plane and You have your child, and they say the oxygen mask comes on. You put yours on first, and then your child.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we've just really gotten away from that. The sedentary lifestyle that so many of us live in America. Um, we all have cars, so we don't have to drive most places. I remember, growing up, there was a there was a 7-Eleven at the corner of our street, and there were times when we actually drove up there.
Right.
Seriously, I mean, it was cute. My dad, when the weather was nice, my dad would ride his bike up there. Now, granted, he was going to buy cigarettes, but one thing at a time, right?
Right.
We have to start with eating. Everything else we'll touch on at some point, right? Um, but I think about that now, and I think, as when we were kids, we would ride up there all the time. We would ride our bikes and get a Slurpee. Okay, really not the best thing for you, but
Mm.
still, as a kid, who cared? It was fun. And Slurpees were this big, not this big,
Right. Right.
which of course is another challenge in our society. Bigger is better, right?
Absolutely. If you're not at a restaurant, they don't give you big portions, you're disappointed. I remember seeing even the size of plates from the 60s were just generally
Mhm.
smaller. The little Coca-Cola, like you said, bottles were 8 ounces.
Yep.
8 ounces.
Ab-
That's it.
Yep.
And now
I
these
know.
big slurp or whatever the heck they're called. I mean, they're just the sugary drinks is what I cut out immediately when I wanted to lose the weight. That was the first thing I made, and then of course I exercised and lifted weights and was committed to it. One of your essays that I really liked, where you talk about the difference between I get to instead of I have to.
Mm-hmm. That is something, this is interesting. So, a friend of mine, a newer friend of mine, had said that to me during a conversation. And I I had heard people say that before. And it didn't resonate with me until this person who's, he's in his 70s, and, he's retired from his career and doing something new. And he had said to me, he's like, people are always asking me, why do you have to do all this work for this? Why do you have to do it?
Hmm.
And he said to them, well, I don't have to do it, but it's really cool that I get to do it because I'm healthy and I'm happy and I have the time and I've made good decisions. And so I think so often in our everyday life, now, yeah, there are some things that you have to do.
Hmm.
You got to pay your taxes. Sorry, just got to do it. They'll come and chase you down otherwise.
Yes.
Um, so in a way, yeah, there are things, but when you think about it, even as horrible as paying your taxes is, you know what? You get to pay taxes in a country that you get to live in. And, if you've at all traveled the world, no matter what is going on today with craziness and COVID and politics and just all the things that happened in the last 2 years, we live in the best country in the world. So, yeah, you have to pay your taxes in a way, but you know what? You get to live in this great country of the United States of America. And so when you start thinking things like, I get to do this as opposed to have to do this, how many times people, oh, I've got to go pick up my kids. Oh, I've got to go spend the time with my mom. Oh, I've got to. Well, think about it. I just spent a great week with my mom. I never thought I have to go see my mom. Where a lot of people would, she's in New Jersey now, but she's down in Florida for the winter most of the time. And as most people say, oh, I haven't seen my mother in a while, I have to go see my mother. And all of a sudden that makes it a chore. Shouldn't be going to visit your mom be like a great thing? And so
Mm.
I had the opportunity to spend 5 days just me and my mom. Changes the whole concept, but it changes your mindset, and it really starts to um, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? It builds upon that. Every positive thing you say, just kind of creates this beautiful level of positivity. And yeah, sometimes things happen in life that aren't positive. We know that. But if you start to build this level of positivity in your life just by changing around a few words, I have to do this as opposed to I get to do this,
Mm.
that positivity, I mean, it radiates. People want to be around people who are positive, who have positive energy. I mean, think of somebody that who walks in a room and it like the light, it almost seems like the room lights up, right? But you have that other friend also who walks into the room and it's like all the air gets sucked out. So that little bit at a time, that I get to do this, and creating that positivity and that positive mindset really does help when it comes again to that healthy living, happy life that we are all searching for. These are all components of that healthy, happy life, which is why I say, this is something that we can all achieve. We just have to make a plan, whatever it is that we want. So we have to decide what we want, prioritize those things, and then really step back and say, okay, these are the things I want to do. This is the order that I'm going to do it. And prepare for that. Sometimes preparing is just, mentally going, okay, I'm going to do this. Sometimes before I get on my treadmill, I'm like, all right, I'm going to run 5 miles at 7.0. All right, I fib. I'm going to run 3 miles at 7.0. I've got to get my brain around that. I've got to, kind of psych myself up for that. So I think, but I think, the more positive that we can be, the easier those things are. That planning and preparation, or that preparation piece. You call it discipline, which is really important, but if you have the plan and you're ready for it, you've prepared for it, discipline isn't that hard. I mean, it's hard, but it's not as hard as if you just said, all right, I'm just going to have at it and see what happens. That's when I think people say, oh, discipline, like I'm not that disciplined. You can be. And it's actually, discipline is a word my husband uses very, very often when it comes to his health and wellness. And he's truly one of those people. He's really good. He can log everything. He knows what he's eating when, and I do recommend that people log their food. That takes a little bit of discipline, yes. I will have to say. But again, if you've prepared for it, and it's part of that strategy. If you have this strategy, the discipline is just making sure that it happens. It's just kind of doing the work.
Absolutely. You've got this great, website, the Living Healthy list, where you have, you have experts there, you have your founders there, and people can go to wellness and personal development, and they can choose one of those areas. They could really get some help, and anyone, and fun, of course, is a great topic as well. It's got a lot of resources in there. I really like the site. Why does the logo have a peacock feather?
I'm glad you asked. So, a peacock is when you look at a peacock, if it's just walking around, it's just kind of like everybody else. It's a bird. It's a bigger bird. But when it opens its tail feathers and it becomes this magical bird, when it to me, it shows, confidence and true self-assuredness. And that's really what we all want in our life. We kind of live behind a lot of masks, and we really don't show people who we are. The peacock is very proud to be a peacock and shows it to the world. And I think many of us struggle with that. And in order to be healthy, happy, to live that fulfilled life, we need to show the world who we are. We can't be afraid to hide who we are. We really do need to express ourselves. And some people express themselves with art, some people with music, some people with food. I mentioned earlier, I love to cook. And to me, that's the way I express who I am and kind of what I'm good at too, because I'm not really good at art or music. So I think, to me, the peacock feather is really represents the person who we are, that we want to show the world.
Very, very apropos. Yeah, it's a great symbol of. I often think of the duck just kind of swimming, and it looks so kind of calm as it kind of gently moves it around. But if you look under the water, you see the legs frantically, flapping and moving itself
Mhm.
around. Denise Stegall, thank you so much. You're doing great work. You're helping people. There's just I get to talk to so many great people who, help themselves. Your husband made a big transition, and but then you're taking that extra step and helping others. It's really admirable. How can we get in touch with you?
Oh, thank you so much. So you can get in touch with me. Go to our website at livinghealthylist.com, and that's list like your shopping list. Right from there, you can connect with me. The email comes directly to my email account, and I am the person who responds. So please do that. And then when you're there, sign up for our online magazine. We do a monthly online magazine that includes our current blog posts and interviews, some fun events that our experts, who are actually all around the country, who they all have an event coming up. We post that in the online magazine as well, and it's something that you can get right to your inbox once a month. And we do not spam. But it really is a beautiful way to, for us, it's another resource that we can provide for our listeners and your listeners as well.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Next time we'll talk, we'll bring up 80s music, which I know you're a big fan of, like I am.
Yes, I am.
I'll just say two words: Duran Duran. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Joe. This has been great. Bon Jovi. There's two more words.
That's I'll take that as well. Have a great day. Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypins.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Would you like to financially support the podcast? You can go to our Patreon site. Consider $5, $10, or $20 a month. There's all kind of plans that we have there. There's like a one-time payment. What is this podcast episode worth to you? $25, $50, $100, $500, $1,000, $5,000. You be the judge. You can go to our PayPal account to do that as well. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pin's Discipline Conversations.